Good afternoon on this beautiful summery October 6th day. Thank you all for coming to Justice Southbury's 228th consecutive Sunday of social justice rallies. If you're counting really quickly and you weren't here before, you would know that that takes us back to May of 2020 when this started. Justice Southbury began with a very simple emotional response: exhausted anger, a feeling of enough after the murder of George Floyd. Justice Southbury started gelling as we drew inspiration from a simple challenge: Martin Luther King Jr.'s statement that in the end, we will remember not the words of our enemies, but the silence of our friends. And we vowed not to be silent friends. Justice Southbury was then constructed on a simple moral foundation: love your neighbor. Nothing to do with religion or politics. Just start with love your neighbor and see where it leads you. Justice Southbury decided to organize what we were doing to better manage the structure we built from that simple moral foundation. We came up with a simple vision statement: a more fair and kind community for all. But we always recognized that this simplicity of stated values was challenged as we faced the more nuanced and difficult realities of life's rich pageant. Once you move on from simply loving your neighbor, what's next? What if your neighbor is mean or violent? What is fair? What is kind? Does all really mean all? Life is full of gray areas. Very little is simply black and white. We've often discussed the need to grapple with the gray areas, especially the very gray areas, which are sometimes distinct gray areas and are sometimes murky gray areas. But we need to engage, we need to understand, we need to press on. A more fair and kind community for all is one in which a Justice Southbury member doesn't just ignore an opponent who yells at us, but one in which we urge that opponent: put me in your shoes. Help me understand what you see through your eyes that I don't see through mine. We need to accept the humility of an open mind. One of the most black and white, right and wrong events of the past 228 weeks occurred 1 year ago tomorrow. Hamas's attack on innocent Israelis was tragic, awful, evil, inhumane. Nothing about the attack itself was gray or ambiguous. But the circumstances that preceded the attack were layered in thousands of years of murk, hundreds of years of this and then that, decades of hate and acting on hate and reacting to the acting on hate and more hate. And all that has happened in and around Israel since last October 7 has been more of that same. Who is 100% right? No one. Who is 100% wrong? No one. What is the path out of that cycle? I certainly don't know. But I do know that it's not simple. I love the example of Mohandas Gandhi and his simple summons to be the change you want to see in the world. That summons influenced my daughters as they grew up with his poster saying that hanging on their bedroom walls. When he said, "An eye for an eye makes the world blind," he could have been warning Israel and Iran and Hamas and Hezbollah and the Houthis and the Americans to find an off-ramp from the never-ending retaliations, even the measured retaliations. So Gandhi's quote, "An eye for an eye makes the whole world blind," is a summary of his pacifist views and his teachings of nonviolence, peace, and harmony. He believed that simplistic retribution would only lead to an endless cycle of violence. Instead, he taught that people should break the cycle of violence by refusing to retaliate with further violence. But as much as I admire Gandhi, I don't agree that the Israelis or the Palestinians or the Lebanese or others can simply turn the other cheek to an enemy. It is not that simple. But I do hope, deeply and passionately hope, that cooler heads, if they exist and can be heard, can find a way not only to a temporary ceasefire, but to a lasting and just peace that provides security and happiness to the variety of people and communities in the Middle East. May it be so.